So the Cleveland Cavaliers just locked up the 1 seed, and even though that has been the obvious and it was bound to happen for quite a few months now, we all need to take a step back and remember where this team was at before the beginning of the season. The big question was, would Koby Altman trade away some of the core to find something new? Would Donovan Mitchell need to be traded to not risk losing him? Was Evan Mobley the right guy to build around for the future? Was Garland a reliable option with all those injuries? Those were the questions being asked. I don't think anyone in their right mind was thinking 1 seed. But then came the season, and with the entire team still intact, the Cavs started out 15-0, making quite the statement. Kenny Atkinson had the guys clicking, and the rest was history. I thought the Cavs were going to lock up the 1 seed over the weekend against the Kings, but that team just has had the Cavs number for some reason. And that was just kind of a weird game. Donovan Mitchell gave us all the scare of our lives, going down and kind of grabbing his entire knee when it was an ankle injury. And that entire game just felt like the Kings were playing with purpose, and the Cavs were there physically, but not mentally, which is understandable. But I just hated to see it because every game the Cavs continued to not wrap up the 1 seed was another game they had to play the starters and risk injury. But finally against the Bulls, they got it done. So many guys showed up and I want to talk about it. But before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. So the Cavs beat the Bulls 135-113 at home in Rocket Arena to finally wrap up the regular season Eastern Conference title. And they did it without Donovan Mitchell, who was resting after that ankle injury, and we got to see Darius Garland have one of his best all-around games of the season. Evan Mobley was great with a 20-point double-double, and then Ty Jerome and DeAndre Hunter off the bench really kind of capped off the years they have had, combining for 35 points on 14 of 26 shooting together, and Ty was 7 for 11. I really can't put into words just how big Ty Jerome was for the Cavs all year, because he specifically was a guy that was on nobody's radar. He came into the season as a bench warmer, but as Atkinson said, he is just a hard worker, and he performed all camp long, and it was like, how long was it going to continue for? And Ty answered the question immediately, for the whole season. He really showed us his true ceiling. It was just the injuries and the different circumstances that held him back. It's not like this was a Cinderella run. He plays with so much control, nobody can speed him up or slow him down, and he became more and more confident throughout the season. And same can be said for Darius Garland, because last year was brutal for him in terms of injuries and just not having any confidence. He could barely even eat and lost so much weight, so he was just not himself, and he faced so much criticism last year as well, even from me, I'll admit that. But he bounced back, and I think he could win Most Improved Player. He definitely has a case for that, and Clutch Player of the Year. But he won't, because the national Cleveland disrespect is going to continue. I've been seeing posts about Defensive Player of the Year, and nobody is talking about Evan Mobley, which is absolutely absurd. And for Most Improved Player, I've been seeing everyone but Ty Jerome, which again is insane. But if you're a Cleveland fan, you have to almost expect it at this point. But hey, that should just give this team even more motivation to dominate in the playoffs. And I'm going to make a video previewing the playoffs and whoever the Cavs match up with. But first, let's break down some game film from this win over the Bulls. Alright, so the Cavs started out the game with this play from Jarrett Allen, and Jarrett Allen needs to do this in the playoffs. I would prefer him to get a little bit deeper into the paint because he's probably not going to make this against the defense he's going to see in the playoffs, but still, nonetheless, we need to see an aggressive Jarrett Allen. We need to see him take things into his own hands. He cannot play laid back. He has to attack, and he has to be aggressive, especially on the glass. And then here, Max Strus does not get enough credit for this. He is a great facilitator, especially for the bigs. He doesn't actually give it to a big on this play. He feeds Isaac Okoro, but still, he has just been the king of dumping the ball off inside. He's actually probably been the best player on the team in doing that this season. It hasn't been Donovan, it hasn't been Darius, it's been him. And Brad Daugherty has pointed that out all season long during the telecasts. And Kenny Atkinson is always talking about Max Strus in that way. Sometimes he doesn't always have the best scoring games, sometimes he's not hitting his shots, but he is a big impact player. And a lot of people don't realize that about him. He makes winning plays. Whether it's fighting for a rebound, making a pass, making a hustle play, he really does it all in that aspect. And here let's look at this play from the Virginia Cavaliers turned Cleveland Cavaliers. DeAndre Hunter starts posting up in the paint. He sees Ty Jerome is open up top. He gives him a bounce pass pass, and at first, Ty Jerome surveys the floor. He realizes that shooting the ball is the best option, so he lets it fly and drills the 3. And that is what has made Ty Jerome so good all season long. Because I still feel like even though defenders definitely have studied his tape, it doesn't feel like Ty Jerome is a spot-up shooter. But he really is. He's probably one of the most efficient shooters in the league. I feel like every time he just lets it fly with confidence, he always knocks it down. Once again, Ty Jerome leads the offense in transition. He's looking to pass. He throws it across court to Dean Wade, who swings it to Sam Merrill, back to Ty Jerome, and he is ready to shoot and knocks down the 3. This type of ball movement is what Draymond Green was talking about earlier in the season in his podcast, where the Cavs offense just made his head spin trying to defend it. And then for another Ty Jerome highlight, because I just love watching Ty Jerome play, he uses the Mobley screen. Well, not really, because Mobley never actually said it, but he gets inside at his own pace, in his own control, and he finishes the floater inside through contact for the and 1. So yeah, those were some of my favorite plays from the game. Obviously, there were a ton I could have talked about, but that would take all day. So not to get into some of the numbers, Darius Garland played 29 minutes. Not a single starter played over 30. Once again, a masterclass from Kenny Atkinson as we wind down the season. Garland had 28 with 2 rebounds and 5 assists. He was plus 8 in terms of plus minus and was 10 of 17 from the field and 6 of 10 from behind the arc. Hopefully he can bring that efficiency into the playoffs. That would be huge. Isaac Okoro played 19 minutes. He only had 2 points and 5 rebounds, but he was plus 2 and plus minus. Not his best game, but he's not known for scoring. That's not really his role. He's more of a defensive guy, obviously. Max Strus played 25 minutes. He had 9 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. That's kind of his typical stat line. He makes an impact everywhere, and he was plus 15, leading the starters in terms of plus minus. Jared Allen played 29 minutes. He had 12, 9, and 3, but he did have 3 steals and 2 blocks, so definitely got it done on the defensive end. And then Evan Mobley had 21, 12, and 7, was pretty close to a triple-double, was just missing 3 assists, and then he had 2 steals and a block. Evan Mobley is your defensive player of the year. I can't stand the Draymond Green arguments. I know Draymond is a great player, especially in terms of like having experience and making an impact, but I just think Evan Mobley statistically is just better in terms of blocks, steals, and his length being 7 feet tall. In terms of the bench, I already talked about in the intro what Ty Jerome and Hunter did. They combined for 34 points. Jerome had 18 and Hunter had 17. Sam Merrill had 9 points. It'll be huge in the playoffs if he can knock down threes. Honestly, I'm not sure how many minutes he'll play because all season long he's just been inconsistent, but Sam Merrill is always a nice boost when he's hitting, but when he's not hitting, man, he can be brutal. And then Dean Wade, he played 20 minutes and also had 9 points and had the same shooting splits, being 3 of 5 from the field and 3 of 4 from behind the arc. So yeah, man, that about wraps up this regular season. What a year it has been for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I cannot wait for the playoffs. I cannot wait for the Cavs to have a chance to prove the national media wrong. But I'm going to stop talking. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below, and here's what some of the guys had to say in their post-game interview.
Obviously, clinching the top seed. Both of you guys, just what's the feeling like? It seemed like the locker room was really in a good spot.
It's great. Number 1 seed in the East. Been working for that for a while. Finally got the game under our belt, so it's cool to be the number 1 seed and watching other guys play now. It's cool being in this spot. Like I said, just seeing everybody else play now, but the work is just now starting. Everybody's trying to get locked in for the playoffs, so that's where our mentality is shifting to. So the work doesn't stop now, just really just getting started. Got to crank it up a notch and turn up our intensity, turn up our focus.
That's really all I got for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point, and if you enjoyed it and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe because your support truly does mean the world. And also, let me know what you'd like to see next, and until then, I will see you all later.